It's man like Dan. Come on! Welcome to Million in the Pride today. Aye, we got a doctor. Yeah. Let me give you the titles, innit? Because she's got loads of titles today. So, award-winning doctor and leader, international and TEDx speaker, founder / CEO of Akaya. I don't know if I said it correctly.
Right.
Director at Melanin Medics, Princess Diana Award recipient. She's a trustee and an ambassador. Welcome to the lovely Khadija Owusu.
Thank you very much for having me.
So thank you for coming on. So like I was saying to you off camera, the reason why I brought you on is because you're doing a lot. You are doing things that I haven't seen personally, and you're all about community. You're all about making that change. You're all about helping other people. And so one of the questions I have in mind is like, how did you do it? Because you wasn't always this confident person. You used to be shy.
Yeah.
But you've been going from strength to strength. You literally even interviewed Michelle Obama. Like there's levels. You're doing TEDx conversations. But what I do want to show as well, as much as people are thriving and achieving success in their own right, it comes with a struggle, and also there wasn't a finished product when they started. They're still not, but they had to acquire or develop that sort of confidence to do
Exactly.
so. So one of my first questions to you, because this topic is going to be around coming out your comfort zone. So one of my first questions to you is, how did a young black woman like yourself from Tottenham, how difficult was it when it came to looking for this sort of journey of success?
Yeah. That's a tough question, I would say. I think, you mentioned I was born in Tottenham, but we quickly sort of moved to, where do we go? Well, we're now in Finsbury Park.
Yeah.
From a very early age. So growing up, primary school, as you mentioned, like I used to be a very shy girl at primary school. And then sometimes when family members look at me now, they're like, how? How have you become this person? But I went through, I got to secondary school, and I think secondary school, I always say, was a very pivotal sort of moment for me, or time period, where I was starting to understand, okay, what am I destined to do? What am I destined to be in life? That's where I solidified my dreams. I wanted to become a doctor. That's where I knew speaking up for others is something that is, in a way, innate or natural for me. I don't like seeing others struggle. Yeah. So if they don't, or if they can't find their voice, I will be the voice for them in order to make sure that we bring about change. So that period of then trying to build and learn for myself, encountering so many amazing people who would continuously push and advise, including Michelle Obama, because that's where I actually met her, from secondary school. And then, ending up in a private sixth form, which again was that was something that, family-wise we never thought of, because first of all, affording private tuition fees was it's impossible. So to then be like, or to then hear from them, we really want her to study here, we'll give her 100% scholarship. Again, that was an opportunity for me to, in a way, what I always say is taste the other side. So this is why we always see people with a certain type of education get into the places where they get to, whereas we have so many young, bright, capable black students who either shy away from such opportunities, or putting themselves out there, or going for things that maybe because they don't necessarily see other people that look like them in those positions, or maybe they just completely shut off because they think, coming from where I come from, I don't think I'll be able to do it. So it's been a mixture of all of those things that I guess have brought me to where I am today.
Yeah. So you are from Tottenham, single mother, eldest.
Yeah.
Yeah. And your brother has sickle cell.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the fact that you're a doctor as well, how did you see that happening when there's less representation around you?
No, I think that's a very valid question. So he's part of the reason why I wanted to become a doctor. I think growing up in that environment where you are almost there quite frequently because of his condition, you see what people are doing for him. By people, it's the healthcare staff, in particular doctors. So having that, but also paired with, naturally, I was a science and maths girl at school. Those were my favorite subjects.
Yeah.
So in a way, I thought, okay, yeah, medicine is definitely for me. And that is why, you know, I really wanted to become a doctor. The only thing is, like, usually you tend to hear, okay, well, maybe there's a doctor in the family, or maybe there's somebody that you know that is a doctor. But for me, that wasn't the case. It was, I mean, I always knew that, okay, this is something that's definitely on my heart. I'm definitely going to do it regardless. And I knew that, okay, if I wanted to study medicine, I need to smash my A-levels. And thankfully that sixth form opportunity came for me to do so, where I received, you know, so much support with my university application, which touches on the point where I mentioned, you know, I mean, this is why certain students with a certain education go far places, because of the support that they received. I went from 30 students shouting in the classroom to 7 or 8. You had one-to-one teachers. During the holidays, you had like revision sessions. We had mock interviews for medical school, exam practice, all of these things, which, I mean, I guess I would say sowed the seed for my desire to do a lot of the things that we do at Millennium Medics, which we can talk about later on. But that was, you know, despite not having the role model or figure, I knew that, okay, if there is no one, I want to be that one, so that other people can look up to me as that role model or figure.
So you wanted to be the change that you wanted to see. Yeah. So what advice do you have for those that want to achieve success? So let's say, for example, young black women that are in their 20s. What did it take for you to achieve that success? I know you're still on that journey, but what does it take? So when you reflect on your own journey, what would you say are the main sort of components?
Main components wise, I would say number one is I mean, I'll give a list of a few few components, but I would definitely say confidence is key, and also owning who you are. So being unapologetic about who you are, maybe the kind of things that you've done, or just who you are as a person. I think as black women, we tend to shy and dampen down our greatness, maybe because we think we might come across as arrogant, or we just don't like to big up ourselves. But there's a way to do it that is still humble, because I mean, there's nobody else that went to go on to do those great things that you've done. It's you yourself. So you have to pat yourself on the back. So confidence, owning who you are. I would definitely say it's okay to not be okay. We are human. And I think in this day and age of social media, we always see perfect things. Maybe we see, you know, the people that we look up to, maybe we think that, you know, they don't have any down days, any sad days. But trust me, life gets real. I mean, me personally, I lost my dad 2 weeks ago. So life has been really lifing. And so it's okay to take the time out. Yeah, we want to strive, we want to make money, we want to, you know, build ourselves up. But when you have days where you're not okay, take care of yourself. That's one thing I also want to mention. And gratitude. I feel like we always want to constantly achieve something. When we get it, it's like, okay, I've been there, done that. On to the next one. But take that moment to celebrate your small wins as well as the big ones, day to day, really and truly, and keep your loved ones close. Do the things that you love to do, aside the work. So whether it be with friends, chilling with family, if it's lying in bed watching Netflix, that's absolutely fine. So remain doing the things that you love to do as well.
That's a lot of stuff, and I feel like, sorry, I'm just touched by what you said as well. Sorry to hear that. Thank you. So even the fact that you're out and about, you're in fields that you haven't seen many people of the same representation be there, you're doing public speaking, people might think, you're full of confidence. But there was a time where it wasn't there. So let's even break that first part of confidence. How does someone get that confidence?
Confidence, I would say, it's not something that you wake up and all of a sudden you can speak your mind and everything. It takes time, and I think it comes with you sort of beginning to live or work towards the things that you care about or that you're passionate about.
Tell us how you was like before.
Pardon?
How was you like before?
Do you know what? So when was it? 2021. I had that was the year I graduated from medical school, and I threw like a 25th birthday / graduation party, and one of my uncles, who's like one of my second dads, he gave a speech and he was like, you know, if you saw Khadija as a little girl, she would be quiet in her corner, only just reading her books, like wouldn't talk to anybody at all. And it's literally, that's literally how I was. In my books, quiet, not talking whatsoever. And then, like I said, secondary school became very pivotal, where I realized that, okay, if I want to do the things that I want to do, essentially I need to work towards being unstoppable. And that requires confidence. So embarking on a path where you don't have anybody around you having gone on that path, you need to be bold enough to take those steps towards it. So it's me realizing or understanding that, okay, these are the things that I love to do. This is what I want to do. And because in a way it brings you happiness, or it's something that you truly want to do, you'll naturally begin to exude that confidence, because who's going to get it for you? No one else.
Yeah. So what was the moment that changed you?
Oh, I don't think there is a particular moment. Yeah.
There might be moments, but let's just say the ones that you can think about right now.
Moments.
Significant moments, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, so when I first met Michelle Obama.
Jeez, hey, she said it like just like casual Michelle down the road. Michelle Obama. Sorry, continue.
When I first met her, I was actually in year 7.
Yeah.
And I was a part of the school choir. And we were told, we're going to give a performance to a special guest. These times we were thinking like, oh, it's one local superstar that, the school's obsessed with and that. So it's like, okay, fine. The day comes, bare security, like the school gates are boarded up, media, cameras everywhere. So we were thinking, who on earth is coming to one girls' school, North London corner like this? Really? We're not special. And lo and behold, Michelle Obama walks across the stage and she gives her speech. And I think I always say this about my encounters with her during secondary school, because although I was very young, I don't think I had fully deeped the words that she had said. Now looking back, and I'm like, okay, hearing those words at that time, it made an imprint, but maybe I didn't understand. But now with the work that we do, with the kind of person that I am, it makes sense. So, I mean, just her saying things about, especially with the cohort of students that we had in secondary school, lower socioeconomic backgrounds. We were a very diverse school, black and brown people. So a lot of students weren't from that privileged background. And for her to come and say, regardless of your background, regardless of you being a woman or a girl, you can do whatever you put your mind to. Okay, yes, failure comes, but take it as a learning lesson. Those were very key moments for me. And I think having supportive teachers as well. And anytime parents even would come and my mum is there, they'd be like, Khadija, like, she just likes to talk a lot, and then she'll be like, but is she getting the work done? They'll be like, yeah, like one of the top students in the class. So what's the problem? So I did have a mouth on me, and sometimes it gets me into trouble. But at the end of the day, I made sure that the work was done. And I think that secondary school environment was really, really crucial to my growth as a person today. So yeah.
Now let's speak about imposter syndrome. So we always spoke about representation already, but even just standing on stage and all of that type of stuff, like how did you treat your imposter syndrome?
Ooh, do you know what? If I'm being really honest, imposter syndrome really hit me after when I started working as a doctor. So going through school, especially at a private school place, I didn't really feel it. University, I didn't really feel it at all. It's only when I started to work as a doctor in my first few weeks, I had an encounter with one of the senior nurses. Actually, no, that's a different situation. So actually, in my first few months of working as a doctor, I had just changed onto a new rotation on a different ward. getting used to things, but I had a really complicated patient, and the level of complications was crazy, and it required involvement of so many different teams. So not just doctors, but surgeons, dietitians, like people from the care home. And because the patient couldn't really speak up for themselves because of their disability, you now have to get other legal sort of things involved, because it's like we are making the decision for their best interest because they can't speak up for themselves. And then you have family involvement, and it was just crazy. So imagine being a few months into the job as a doctor, you have all these different people coming to you because you have been given the responsibility of this patient, coming to you, asking you tons of questions you barely know the answer to. I just started this job yesterday. I've been thrown here. I'm trying to call my senior doctor. Why are you calling me for? You don't need to call me. Ask somebody else to help you. This NHS, but we'll leave it for another day. So lack of senior support, and then it's like, I don't know the answer to all these questions that people are asking, and then you think to like this patient, like they don't even know, they can't even speak up for themselves. So that day I remember was like literally one of the worst days ever, and it got to the afternoon where I was just having thoughts of like, am I even doing a good job as a doctor at this rate? Because I can't even answer people's questions. I don't know what we're doing for this patient. Nobody wants to help me as a junior doctor. So it's just like thoughts of, is this even the right career path that I chose? Why are things like this? All those imposter syndrome thoughts, just feeling like you don't belong, you're not doing a good job. Then later on towards the end of the day, one of the dietitians comes up to me and she's like, look, I know I can see you're working really hard and you don't really have much senior support and everybody's sort of coming at you and you don't really have the answers to the questions, but I'm telling you now, you're doing a really good job. I kid you not, there's a back door of the ward. I literally walked outside and I started crying. I was like, wow. The whole day I've been feeling like, I don't think I can do this. I don't really belong. I'm not doing a good job as a doctor. Then somebody's saying that they recognize the hard work that I'm putting in. It's like, why was I beating myself up so much during that time? So imposter syndrome, definitely that day I'll never forget. That's when it really hit me, I would say deeply, or in a shocking manner for the first time ever. Since then I've not had those moments at all, because in a way you have to positively reaffirm yourself. I didn't go through 6 years of medical school to not think, why I'm not a good doctor, or I shouldn't be a doctor. Having friends and family around you, discussing and obviously also in a way bigging you up, which is the honest truth. And then, sometimes your work doesn't go unnoticed. You never know who's watching. And to have that comment from the member of staff literally shifted my mindset and made me sort of realize that, I'm trying my best, I'm doing my best. So, Yeah.
So do you think we need moments where we essentially hit like maybe rock bottom sometimes, or some sort of challenge, in order for the best that's inside of us to come out?
I don't know how to answer this question, because I feel yes and no. Yes, because sometimes it's through your lowest moments or through maybe some of the challenges you've encountered in life. Those serve as your biggest inspiration points to what you then go on to do in order to help others. But that doesn't necessarily mean everybody must struggle or everybody must go through something bad in order to do good or whatever you're passionate about. But I definitely think one of the greatest moments that an individual will get out of their life, or one of the key drivers to what anybody will do, most of the time comes from that dark, sad place where they must have overcome something that was really challenging for them.
So with you, like I said, you're doing a lot of stuff already. International speaker. You are a doctor. You're very busy. You're very busy. That's the only way I can say it in English. And so across or along your journey, what would you say are like the main sort of challenges that you've experienced?
Main challenges, I would say the point before knowing that I would have gone to the private sixth form. I think I had an internal sort of mental challenge this conversation with myself where I thought, okay, given the context of my background and me wanting to pursue medicine and become a doctor, the mindset that I had at that time was, if I stay and go to, let's say, my local sixth form, I wouldn't be 100% sure as to if I would be the person I am today, if I would even be a doctor. So that was definitely a challenge that I had then until sort of that opportunity came along. Another challenge I would say, I think has more so stemmed since working actually. I mean, you mentioned I do a lot, so it can be a bit on and off in relation to balancing all the different roles. But when you pair it with working full time as a doctor, it can be very higgy-hagga, but I still managed to make it work, thank God. I would say challenges in relation to some of the politics or, circumstances that we hear about on the NHS day to day. It's not easy to be an ethnic minority working, I guess, in any field at all. Where you are one of however many, especially as doctors. I mean, we know NHS is so diverse, but when it comes to doctors, black doctors, we're seeing improvements, but there's still a lack. And so, encountering challenges in the workplace, whether it be bullying, discrimination, unconscious bias, even though you question how unconscious it is nowadays, the microaggressions, all of that stuff, which in a way is sort of unnecessary, I guess. But yeah, I would say those have been a few challenges. In relation to the organizations that I've run, let's say with Melanin Medics, we were medical students when we started, and at a time where nobody was really acknowledging racism as a thing for doctors or medical students in the NHS. So having young people speak up about racism in a wide scale manner, we had a lot of sort of backlash. But other than that, I think, it's been all right.
So you just mentioned some of the challenges, yeah? How do you remain tunnel vision and focus on the goal?
Yeah.
Focus what you need to do in spite of all the challenges, all the noise in the background.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Oh, I really like that question. I would say naturally I'm a very disciplined person, and I think that's something that my mum has instilled in me. Growing up, she, of course, had to work several jobs just to make sure that we were okay. She had to make sure that, the young one as well, we were on point with the care that he was supposed to be receiving. So just her drive and discipline is something that I believe is instilled within me. Naturally, I'm also somebody that's not easily distracted from work that I might be doing, let's say. You might have temporary distractions here and there, temporary breaks, but when it comes to working with Akaya or Melanin Medics, for me, what keeps me very tunnel vision or focus is the impact or the end product. So in relation to remaining tunnel vision and focus when it comes to Akaya and Melanin Medics, I always like to see it's the impact that keeps me going. So whether it be, forgetting about the numbers of how many people we've been able to reach, thank God, sometimes it just takes that one-to-one interaction to know that, okay, you've essentially made this person feel better. You've, in a way, changed their life for the better. And that's something that always keeps me focused, because running charities, honestly, not just in the UK, but Akaya's in Ghana.
Yeah.
And Ghana is a different, playing field, and I don't live in Ghana at the moment, so a lot of challenges, a lot of craziness will happen, but again, what keeps me going is knowing that, okay, it's for Akaya, it's the girls that we serve. For Melanin Medics, it's us wanting to not only improve the healthcare that we give to black patients by having more of us, but also helping more black students get into medicine and easing the process along the way.
So yeah, talk to me a bit more about Akaya.
So Akaya is a charity. We're UK and Ghana registered, that became official end of last year, so December 2022. So essentially how it began was I finished medical school summer 2021, and usually when you're in medical school in your final year, your universities are like, okay, you can go a different country, see what healthcare is like there and stuff. So I decided, I think I want to go back home to Ghana. One thing I commend my mum on doing is growing up, every 2 years in the summer holidays we will go. So Ghana naturally, for me, I've always seen it as a second home. But when uni came along, I had a long period of not going back. And I thought, yeah, this is my time before work starts. And it's, having to book annual leave and all of this work. I was like, this is my time. I have 2 months off. Why not? So I went back to Ghana. And also within me, I've known, we've been doing Melanin Medics for, at that time, I want to say 4 or 5 years. And I was like, we've had so much impact on young people here in the UK. I want to do the same for girls in Ghana. So went back and we did this workshop program in one of the schools, in one of the secondary schools in Ghana. So I had this young girl that was following me on Instagram who had messaged me prior. And then I was going to reply to her, but then I did a little bit of stalking. And I saw that she had quite a lot of volunteering experience. She was very much in contact with schools. So I messaged her to be like, I'm coming back to Ghana. Find me a school, get me 100 girls, let's do something. And I kid you not, up until, let's say, 48 hours, I didn't even know what I was going to do for the girls. But I quickly sort of came up. I thought, what are the 3 key areas that I'm particularly passionate about? That's education, health, and empowerment. So I made this session that we delivered to the girls. Also made sure that we donated stuff like sanitary pads, which is a huge problem in Ghana nowadays. Educational supplies, just to remove or minimize some of those barriers towards education for them. We did that session. Feedback was amazing. Went back to Ghana a year later. We did about 300 girls. I did a little fundraiser for them. We did about 300 girls. I came back from that trip and I was like, this is really impactful. But what we need to do now is actually sit down. I need to have internal conversation. What's the bigger picture? What's long term? So after coming back last summer, I would say the past 6 months to up until December 2022, it was just, okay, what is our mission? What is our vision? Registering for the charity. UK registration was long. Ghana registration was also another long thing. And just, doing the background work was really, really tough. And then we officially launched March this year. So I went back to Ghana, had an amazing, beautiful launch event, so much support. And coming back from then, so many people have reached out. We've built wonderful relationships. We are almost about to close our current fundraiser, where we're trying to raise £10,000. But what we've done is we will be matched by Plant Made when we hit 5K. So I think we're on 4 point something. Once we hit 5K, Plant Made, the natural hair products company, they will give us the other 5 and we make our 10K to continue doing these workshops. We also just launched applications for an internship program for Ghanaian university students, female, to sort of intern with us over the summer and gain so much valuable experience and guidance. There's a lot more to come for the rest of the year. But essentially, we're here just to build the next generation of female African leaders. Ghana's the starting point because Ghana's home. But we don't just want to be Ghana. It's Africa.
Yeah. Wow. You're doing a lot. You're actually doing a lot. And it's inspiring to hear.
Having amazing teams, honestly. Melanin Medics, we had our annual conference yesterday, so I was in Birmingham. And when I say that the team are incredible, I went there, I was just an attendee at this point. I sat down in the corner, everybody handled everything. It was like, wow. Alamide, who sort of initially founded Melanin Medics, she was saying literally, guys, we've not had to do anything. The team, just passionate individuals. When you find an amazing team, it's thank God, honestly. Your life is made so much easier and you just feel so much more happier and fulfilled in doing the work that you do because everybody is like-minded and just as passionate as you are. So, yeah.
I'm honestly seeing the rise of young black women in the UK. and it's amazing to see. I feel like the sort of change occurred in America, and it's maybe a bit more known and prominent. However, in the younger generation, I'm seeing you guys doing so well, and it's amazing. Like, so how did you get this sort of vision in the first place? Because it just sounds like you got a heart to just try and give and make an impact.
Yeah, I think. I mean, anytime anybody asks me what's your purpose in life, it's literally that. It's to give, to instill hope, to inspire women, but also especially young people, and that's what it all boils down to. If I'm asked to do anything, if it hits an element of what I believe my purpose is, then fine, I'll give it my 100%. And that is how I'm able to sort of mainly live through those means through Melanin Medics and Akaya. Anything external where I'm able to offer my time, or help, advice, guidance, I'm more than happy to.
Okay, so in regards to Melanin Medics, then, what is the vision of Melanin Medics? I know you're doing it with someone else as well, but
Melanin Medics is a UK registered charity for the future and present African and Caribbean medical student and doctor. So our aims, what we do is we widen aspirations. We are also for diversity in medicine, but also career progression. And initially it was started by my friend Dr. Alamide Dada, who just simply wrote as a blog in medical school. She got to medical school in Cardiff and realised, like, literally you can count on your hand how many black students there are. Same for me and same for 3 of our other sort of founding members. And we came together after she had sort of expressed, wanting to get more people on board, involved, to discuss things. We thought, well, we can't just have this as a blog for people to read and not do anything about. We have to do something, and that's how Melanin Medics came about. And usually, and this is advice that we always give, it's that sometimes when we want to start something, when we want to do something, we think we need to have X amount of people, X amount of money, it needs to be perfect, a solid plan, 150 pages. That's not really the case, because once you try and make things perfect, you're never going to end up starting. And for us, we thought, okay, well, what can we do? We're only medical students. We don't have funding at all. We have ourselves, our time, and maybe just the small student finance that we have. And for us, showing up or just starting was simply going to schools like where I was, so going to secondary schools, primary schools in predominantly lower socioeconomic areas, and simply just showing up and interacting with the kids. So we started as young as year 2 students. We would go and take in stethoscopes and little scientific or medical equipment, play around with it, and essentially show these kids that we look just like you.
Yeah.
We are medical students. We are future doctors. We are doctors. And so if we can, then you can do it too. We would participate in careers fairs, and, we would have students come up to us and be like, we will ask them, like, okay, what are you thinking career-wise, plans? They'll be like, I'm thinking maybe healthcare assistant, or maybe nursing, or some other sort of health career like this. And not to obviously downplay any of them, because they are very important, if not more important than the job that we do as doctors, trust me. But we then mention, have you thought about becoming a doctor? What, a doctor? Me? No, that's something I can never do. Like, no. And it's like, rah. When you just look at these young people and you think this is something that they've immediately shut their mind. They don't even want to think about it. Not just because of representation, but they think it's something that's not attainable. And so we want to shift their mindset. You don't necessarily end up becoming a doctor, but for you to actually consider it, that's a job done. Because you know that you are capable of doing anything you put your mind to, regardless of what you see out there, or regardless of the lack of seeing people that look like you in those fields. We're here to prove that wrong. So that was a lot of the bulk that we did initially, and this month we turned 6 years old.
Wow.
And it's been a journey, but thank God it's been amazing. We work with the British Medical Association, so that's like the union for the doctors, the General Medical Council, so they look after our licenses, all doctors in the UK, and also the Royal Colleges of Surgeons, Physicians. So the big bodies that essentially make key decisions for doctors in the UK, we work with them. We sit on some of their equality and diversity boards, advocating and changing policy. We still continue with our outreach. We have mentorship programs, events, networking, everything that we do. And it's been an amazing journey. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's honestly really good. It's really good. And 6 years, I'm sure it hasn't been easy, but I remember hearing your story, how it's just come about through a thought. I think that's to do with the charity work in Ghana, and like you just went with a whim really, and you just started.
Yeah.
So my question to you now is, what advice do you have for people that want to start something, that want to go on their own journey and begin something?
Definitely. I think, so one quote that we always say at Millennium Medics is start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can, quite literally. If you have something in mind that you want to execute, you don't necessarily have to start in a huge grand style. It could be getting 10 to 20 people in a room, talking to them about this is something that you want to do, maybe getting some advice, key questions, or maybe just testing out the thing that you want to do. If it's in relation to social media, open that Instagram page, request for people to follow it. Ask your friends and family to support you initially, because they will be there, at the beginning. And then as you grow and expand, you'll manage to get, and build an audience around it. I think when it comes to starting up, any organization or anything that you want to do, have that initial idea, execute it. But it's very important, obviously, long term, you're going to need a plan and where you're going to go.
Yeah.
And I think it helps to creating the plan. When you do end up creating the plan, what helps is knowing you've tried and tested, you know what works, what doesn't work. And that will help you sort of see when it comes to you seeing the long-term impact or change that you want to make, utilizing the little experience that you had when you just started with nothing. And that's definitely the case with Akaya. We did a little, 100 girls in the school, and then we went to do another 300 again. And then that's when I thought, okay, we need to stop. I actually need to sit down and be serious. What's the long term? And that's how we're now, officially registered, establishing relations with businesses and stuff. And so I definitely think remove that box that we always put ourselves in. Just go ahead and start. We stop chasing perfection. If you chase perfection, you'll be chasing for your whole life. Life is too short. So literally, honestly, go for it.
That's really powerful. So you do a lot of motivational speaking as well, which is really good. So how can people connect with you? I don't know what else you do on the side that you haven't mentioned, but what else can you like? Basically, what I'm trying to say is, what services do you offer? How do people connect to you? Yeah.
So I am on social media. It's at Khadija Owusu on Instagram, Twitter. It's Dr. Khadija Owusu on LinkedIn as well. My website is www.khadijaowusu.com. That's where you also find, I think, to be honest, on all social medias, you'll find information on the social media for Millennium Medics and for Akaya, which you can support if anybody wants to support or reach out in ways in which we can work together. I'm always happy to have conversations with anybody. And yeah, I am also a public speaker, so if there are any speaking inquiries, you can message me through my website, or I'm recently signed to 2 agencies, but you find details on my social media as well.
Nice. And so is there anyone in specific, or are there any opportunities available for people? I know you said you're always looking for people, but do you have like specific roles or other things in mind that you're looking for?
Yeah, you reminded me actually. So Millennium Medics, we are recruiting from today. So applications should be open for some roles in the team. With Akaya, we have some activities going on in October as well as in December. So if anybody is outside Ghana in the UK and you might be heading to Ghana October, or to be doing Dirty December, make sure it's not just enjoyment that you do. We also need to help fix, but also, give back to the country as well. So hit me up. We can sort something out with some volunteering, and any businesses or organizations that want to support or partner, definitely message me as well.
And in regards to you being a young black woman yourself, what advice or encouragement do you have for people that are looking at you as an example and they want to do something similar to you? Obviously, they might want to do something completely different.
Yeah.
But I believe that there's always transferable skills in it, and seeing someone that's just thriving or doing what they set out to do can be so encouraging alone. So what is it that you would have liked to hear before that no one was in a position to tell you?
Yeah. I would say I've been blessed to have or receive some good advice along the way. But one question that, when I'm asked what advice would you give to your younger self or younger people, my advice is always to keep going. I think sometimes we become very work focused and forget that life is life. So I think keep going, but also, like I mentioned before, it's okay not to be okay, which is very important. And especially, again, I want to mention young people, the pressures that we face mainly because of social media. I think we're a bit too hard on ourselves. We think, okay, by this age, maybe we would have bought a house, got this car, been married, all of these things. It's too much pressure, unnecessary pressure. Everybody's on their own journey. Like, we all live our own individual lives, and that's what makes us unique. And so we need to stop being hard on ourselves. Just keep going. Like, you wake up every day. If you manage to, work on something a bit more than you did yesterday, that's more than enough. That's an improvement in itself. And in the long term, you will reap the benefits. So honestly, keep going.
Yeah, what you said is big, man. Especially when it comes to being discouraged. Also comparison as well.
Yeah.
Did you ever struggle with that?
With comparison, I would say no. I think, you mentioned, the whole tunnel vision thing.
Yeah.
I've been very much like that, and I think when you see other people's success, you should not only congratulate but also draw inspiration from that, and always see it as, wow. It's even more special when you know the person and they're close to you. You see it as, wow, like, this is somebody in my circle or somebody that maybe I look up to, and they've gone on to be able to achieve this. I'm definitely inspired. It's going to keep motivating me to keep working hard to maybe, apply for that thing the following year, or maybe go for something similar, or maybe just go for what you also want to do yourself. Always draw inspiration from, maybe if you see yourself perhaps comparing or seeing what other people are doing.
Because you even just saying that, it reminded me of the little girl that you mentioned about in Ghana, where it's like they didn't believe that they could be a doctor.
Yeah.
So were they a little girl? Or
it was a little girl in primary school here.
Okay, yeah. Cool. So I think the reason why someone might feel a type of way, like in a negative sort of sense, where they know you and they're kind of hating or they're comparing and they're feeling down, I feel that's because of that same factor where they might feel as though they can't achieve that themselves, when that shouldn't be the viewpoint. They should actually draw the inspiration, but I think it's that same disbelief that causes them to feel envy.
Definitely, it's an internal battle or insecurity, which, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's natural to feel a bit like, but again, it's having those mechanisms or being able to then be like, okay, wow, if they can do it, I can do it too. And I just need to sort of maybe work harder or do XYZ. Or maybe sometimes, a lot of the time, when you see individuals who have done certain things, if you ask them, oh, like, I'm really inspired, like, congratulations, this is something that I've been looking towards doing, do you have any advice for me? That person, so a lot of the time, I'm more than happy to help you in whether it be, that application or that interview, or pointing you in the right direction to speak to XYZ, giving you that internship, whatever it may be. Sometimes people are more than happy to send the ladder down so that you can also climb to the top as well.
What a bar, hey! Send the ladder down for someone to climb on top. That's a nice one.
It's true, because I think sometimes we think we should be the only ones in our particular field at the top. No.
Yeah.
There's plenty of room for everybody else to succeed and be at the top. That's the only way we can become powerful, especially as a black community anyway.
Yeah. And honestly, I feel like things are changing. Yeah, a lot of people were complaining before, rightly so, but I feel like people are not also acknowledging the change. There's a lot of change. And I feel like you guys are part of the pioneers, the trendsetters, the innovators, and just keep doing your thing, man. Just keep doing your thing. You've got this. Hopefully you get the support that you need as well, which I'm sure you will. In terms of like the pressure and responsibility that it comes with, look after yourself, man. Look after yourself. Take it easy. Honestly, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
I'm touched. I hope everyone's taking notes and leave a comment.